Welcome to a Career Bridge webcast being streamed live on October 3rd, 2011. This is Jeff Lebo in Busan, and we have a parade of KOTESOL folks stopping by tonight to talk about the upcoming international conference. We're going to meet some of the candidates for national office, and we're going to have a roundtable discussion about KOTESOL issues at large. First, let's quickly meet who's on the call, and I believe we're all in the same order here, so why don't we start with Doug and wind up with Stafford.
Yes, my name is Doug Huffer. I'm the Nominations and Elections Chair this year, so I'm
Issues at large.
so I'm the chair, so if you have any problems, I know the website has had some technical difficulties. So if you think you have registered for the conference and renewed your membership and you don't get a ballot next week or this week on the 7th, you can email me for that. But yeah, if there's any problems with the election, you'll complain to me about it. So I'm the guy to look for at the IC.
All right, well, why don't we talk about that again when we're talking to the candidates, and I want to make sure that gets tossed up on the recording notes as well. Next to Doug is Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm currently the president of the Jeju KOTESOL chapter, and I'm currently running for first vice president.
And on the other side of me is Mr. Davies.
Oh, I'm Joshua Davies. What am I? I don't have any official roles right now. I'm a consultant for Lam Institute, which is a communications firm throughout the Asia region. And I do webcasting things with Jeff every once in a while.
And he's a KOTESOL member at large, and he's going to be the Grand Marshal along with me during our candidate discussions. And next to Joshua.
Hi, I'm Callahan. I'm the Daegu chapter president and a big fan of hanging out and talking. Well, an understatement.
Our web cameras.
Ah, well, yeah. We all can't afford fancy web cameras like you, Josh.
Fine.
And Grand Marshal of the conference portion of this webcast, Stafford.
Hi, I'm Stafford Lumsen. I'm the co-chair, actually, for the conference this year. But of course, our chair is also standing for a position, and I'm thinking he might be on this very cast very shortly. So in his absence, I'm talking about the conference, and I'm not standing for anything this year. Yay!
All right, and to finish us off, over on the far left, David Schaefer. Who are you, David?
Yes, I am David Schaefer. Very good. I'm the president of the Gwangju Cheonnam chapter of KOTESOL, and I am running for the office of first vice president. I'm also on the conference committee with Stafford.
Excellent. So let's start with the conference. What, where, when, why, and how, Stafford?
All right. So in just under 2 weeks' time, the 15th and 16th of October, we'll see this the 19th KOTESOL International Conference being held at Sukmyeon Women's University here in Seoul. So it's the same venue as last year. If people came last year, they'll know where it is. If not, if people don't know where it is, they can check out the KOTESOL website at koretesol.org/IC 2011. Now the theme of this year's conference is pushing our paradigms, connecting with culture.
I have a question. How much do themes matter?
Sort of
You know, every year there's a different theme. How much does that affect what's presented and what happens at the conference?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think a lot of conferences nowadays do one of two things, and that's set a theme and then very strictly get their presenters to adhere to that theme, or set something a little bit broader. And I think our theme is sufficiently broad that it does sort of encapsulate a lot of different ideas about teaching paradigms, what it's like teaching in Korea especially. I think that's what the culture part of that theme relates to. And so, yeah, I guess our theme, while we have asked our presenters to sort of keep it in mind, is sufficiently broad that you've got a good variety of presentations coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
So please continue before I interrupted you. Where were you headed?
Where was I headed? I don't know. That was a good question.
Well, you know, I think one of the coolest things about all these presentations are just meeting regular folks, but one of the big promo things are some of the big names in the field that are stopping by. What are some of the big names who are going to be stopping by?
Right. Well, I think this year we've got perhaps one of the biggest names, if not the most controversial names in teaching English as a second language or as a foreign language. That's Stephen Krashen. If people quickly consult the Book of Knowledge on that, wikipedia.com/Stephen with a PH, Krashen, Krashan. Here's a guy whose ideas sort of shaped teaching English as a second language for some time, and then whose ideas were almost flatly rejected for a long time by certain groups within the teaching community, and who's now sort of having something of a resurgence and a re-examination of some of his ideas about approaches to teaching English.
All right. So for those, any other names you want to drop?
Yes, I could tell lots of names. We've also hearing from Keith False, who most people should think will know the name, if not the person. Ken Beattie, Gavin Duvernay, who is one of my, maybe one of my heroes when it comes to teaching English and the use of technology in the classroom. Tom Farrell, among others. Check out the website for more details.
And how many presentations are there total?
I might defer to Dave on that one. He might have a better idea. I think we're pushing at least 100 and something.
Stafford, I think there's about 130 concurrent session presentations and somewhere between 50, 60, 70 commercial presentations in addition to that.
So a lot going on. For those who have never been to a conference, and I toss this out to anyone, and why should someone go? They've never been, they say, oh, Stephen Krashen, I've heard of him, but I don't know if it's worth the trip up to Seoul to go see him speak. I can watch him on YouTube.
Number one reason for me has always been networking, getting a chance to meet people in person, getting a chance to actually sit and talk to a couple of people. I learned a lot, not so much in the presentations, but a lot of what I've picked up has been outside while you're grabbing a sandwich from Suji's and bumping into somebody and going, hey, I've got this idea, how would you step about doing this? And going from there.
Are you being paid to sponsor Suji's?
No, I'm not, unfortunately. I wish I was. If you can figure out how we can get paid to sponsor Suji's, maybe in sandwiches, that'd be lovely.
That sounds good. I'll have to agree, though, with definitely, in that networking is one of the key things. A lot of my jobs that I've had in my career so far have come through people I've met through KOTESOL, as well as you also get massively inspired, at least by some of the better presenters. I remember my first conference when I saw Mark Helgelson talk, and that just gave me a ton of ideas. I see Stafford nodding his head. Perhaps he was at the same talk. Did you see him as well? Oh, he's muted, so he's got that muted.
Yeah, Mark Helgelson is a very impressive speaker, and a lot of people ask, what am I going to get for my classroom? It's one thing to have all these people speaking, but what am I actually going to be able to use in my classroom? And I think this year's lineup of speakers really has a practical component to some of the stuff that they're bringing to the conference, stuff that people can use in the classroom and not just consider as just sort of theory, background knowledge to what's going on in the classroom.
We specifically ask a number of them to do workshops rather than just a straight lecture.
No, I'm going to be giving a workshop or hosting a workshop, but I'm not going to blurb at this point about that. And I found that a lot of the workshops are incredibly useful.
I remember going to the conference my first year in Korea in 1995, and I walked away from it feeling like my batteries were recharged. You know, whether you're just off the boat or you've been here for a couple of years and you're feeling a little bit stale, I think it's a great place to recharge your batteries, get some fresh ideas, and feel a little bit more like a professional. I think it's a great environment to develop professionally and to discover resources.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's definitely a sense of rubbing shoulders with some of the, like I say, some of the more rock starish type people involved in teaching English, throughout the world. And make no mistake, we have presentations from a lot of other places than just Korea this year. A lot of people bringing ideas from outside of Korea that hopefully people will be able to take away and use in their classrooms, whether it's here or in Japan or China or wherever.
So what do people need to know about attending the conference? How do they register? How much is it going to cost? Where can they stay?
Okay, the best thing that people can do is actually join KOTESOL. By joining KOTESOL, they get a significant pre-registration discount. So if you were to go to koreatesol.org, you can follow the links on the front page there to become a member of KOTESOL. But once you've done that, if you go to registration, again the links are on the site, it will cost 40,000 won for someone to pre-register for the conference, as opposed to 50,000 won if they do it on the day.
What's the
non-members
pre-registration, Mr. Stafford?
What's that?
How long has pre-registration been extended to?
I'll get to that.
Oh, sorry.
Because I can't find it on here. It's big red letters on the front. I think it's extended until October
3rd. So
Oh,
you've got
okay.
3.5 hours left. Act now while supplies last.
Oh, it is October 3rd. That is today. Ooh, get in there, people. Do it now. Do it now. This is live. You can do it.
It's worth doing it tonight because waiting in that line is no fun at all.
I remember my first year
Well, we
waiting
hope
in the
that there
line.
won't be any lines, irrespective of how many people don't necessarily pre-register. But if you're
Which is a
looking at
beautiful
turning up
thing,
on the
Stafford.
day, and you're not, I'm going to ignore. I'm going to cross my fingers and think good thoughts. If you turn up on the day and you're not a member of KOTESOL, it's going to cost you 75,000 won. So becoming a member is a really big discount for sure.
And I'm sorry, how much does it cost to become a member?
$40,001.
Okay. And I mean, all of these are not big numbers. I mean, for the amount of presentations and time you get for that, it's a pretty reasonable price for a conference.
When I speak, I can't hear myself.
So, and is lodging an issue, or I mean, you stay wherever you stay in Seoul? And there's a list of...
It's a little bit of an issue at the moment. I'm having difficulty finding hotels, but I'm hopeful that I'll find some place.
I recommend finding someplace away from the conference. I know I usually stay there near Dongdaemun. There are a number of love motels that are 40,000-50,000 a night. And it's not
Suncheon
that-
as well has the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of spots, but I know Dongdaemun is not that far away, and
Yeah.
you can hang out and drink Baltica and
They have great Russian food in Dongdaemun.
yes.
Vodka?
Lots cheapest vodka in Seoul.
See, you learn all sorts of things when you network with KOTESOL.
Very important for KOTESOL. And you're right in my neighborhood.
Oh, and we've just lost Stafford.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Well, I guess he's ready for Dexter. Anything else we old timers want to share about this KOTESOL conference or conferences in general, past, present, future?
They're great fun.
It's amazing how many people can fit in such a small venue. It's definitely getting at capacity. It's I'm always amazed how many people are in each talk. So if you've got a talk that you like, show up early, because otherwise you're going to end up standing at the edges. I've had that happen a few times.
And I just want to mention, David, you need to unmute yourself. We're getting some background conversation, so I had muted you.
Ah, Stafford's back.
Wow, we thought you were done and ready to start watching TV, Stafford.
We were talking about size of the conference. I think sometimes we will have up to 24 concurrent sessions at one time, so there's a lot to choose from. Also, last year we had 1,500 attendees, and we expect that many again this year, maybe more with Crashin here. So we're looking for another large, good, excellent conference.
I agree. What did I miss? Sorry. I had to log back in there for a second.
What you missed is we actually volunteered your house for anyone who wants to stay for free at the conference area.
No, you're
We've only
confusing
had
my house
3,000 offers.
well, actually, no. If a lot of the VIPs are staying at the hotel next door to my house, so close but not quite.
So you can raid their rooms when they're
mini bar, good time.
I have noticed that on the text chat that I think Mijay is requesting help to get on.
Oh.
I tell you what, why don't we wrap up this conference portion and then we can take a little break and work on some of those tech issues.
Yeah, I see you're over there.
What's that?
I see the message that Jamie's talking about.
Yes. Anything else we want to mention about the conference? And if not, we can go ahead and wrap up this portion and work on
Well,
that.
other than please come. No, do come. You've got hours now to pre-register. But obviously, it's most worthwhile. I think you've heard testimonials now from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 people who can attest to it being well worth the time and effort getting to Seoul and the money. And don't forget, if you join KOTESOL, it's a good discount on the attendance fee as well.
Act now, and we will also give you... No, sorry.
Yeah, and just a reminder, we are going to be doing some webcasting from there. Not so much the presentations, but we'll be doing some interviews with speakers and participants during the conference and streaming it hopefully out live and also posting recordings after the fact. So any closing thoughts about the conference, or shall we move on? All right, why don't we go ahead and wrap up the conference portion? We see the Hangout getting full. Stay tuned. We're going to do some tech troubleshooting for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back with our first candidate discussion, I believe, with Jamie.